Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special. I was playing around with some of the editing software. I'm going to try to color correct this, maybe I won't. But in any case, let's talk about Zone 2 and the recovery. So, special thanks once again to Ben Nelson for providing his power numbers. So we've got instantaneous and then 30-second, and along with mine and speed. So this is normally after the first sprint zone, and we like to recover a bit before the second one. And we're kind of strung out here, and there's a little bit of wind coming off our left shoulder. So if you look at the wattage that Ben is putting out up at the front, 260 watts or so, pretty much at this point, everybody's guttered and has to put out that kind of wattage. Currently, my FTP is 210. So this is not going to be easy for me. And you can see an echelon will start to form later on. And we can see this is too much for, I believe, Anna, one of the new Fort Collins riders, and she is strong, probably as strong as I am for the most part. And if she is suffering during the somewhat recovery period, we're just going like too hard. So she waved for me to come through. I'm not chasing Ben. I'm sorry, not going to happen. Um, I need to get a little bit of recovery here and just prepare for the next sprint zone. Looking rearward, and here's one of the supers coming up, and that would be Byron, and he's going to give us some shelter. There's John Lawyer looking good. We got Greg coming up, and they're kind of going to fill in. So you can see what we've got here. We've got an, an echelon up front with Ben, Isla, etc. Then followed with that's Rick, and then Byron comes up to form somewhat of a second echelon or to give us some shelter. But look at that wattage. This is for like for most people is what we'd be doing like in the sprint zone. So if we're wondering why things aren't as spicy maybe and the second sprint zone, everybody's tired. Now I'm tucked in nicely, so look at me. My 30-second power is like 110, but anybody on the outside is going to probably at least be pushing the amount of wattage that Ben's pushing. Not a problem for Byron, but Greg out there, maybe getting a little bit of shelter from Byron, but not much. Got John coming over, giving me a lot of shelter, but this is a lot of work here. So I think it might be cool to like chill on this one a little bit before the sprint zone. I know it's easy for the supers, but maybe not for some of us. If this is what the people want to do, I think it's okay. But for the folks that are like regrouping or whatever, this is hard. I would like to have some sub-tempo recovery through here. So now we're coming into the corner, 23, 24 miles an hour. We slow down a little bit and we come through. Now in the old days, we're supposed to wait for everyone to come around the corner before hitting it. But if you saw Ben's wattage here, 300 watts, I know the guys behind me are strung out with that yo-yo effect. And that's got to be extremely hard. And we're just hitting it so hard here. And this is where I'm saying like some of the culture starting to change a little bit, but looking rearward, like everybody's there and they're like strong enough. And if this is what we want to do and this is what we want to change it to, you know, it's not bad. But we don't want to have everybody like suffering the whole time because people will drop out. And we can see way back there, Ilka, who could usually normally hang in, got dropped early on due to the acceleration, and partially because, well, she has brought, in fact, although a sharp knife, to a gunfight. So looking rearward, so look at the wattage. So Ben's up there, 260 watts. He's just beasting it, and we're into a headwind here. And I'm sitting in pretty comfortably here. I'm pretty happy. And I'm getting more recovery here than I was on the zone down to the beginning of the sprint zone. But everyone's a ramming and a thumping. Life is good. Look at Ben's 30-second power. 20, 260, 270 watts. That's a lot of wattage. Could I do that? Maybe yeah. But I'd be spent. And he's been on the front for like a long time. Scott looking comfortable up there. John looking comfortable with the pedal pedal coast style. Everything's good. My wattage is, in my zone 2 range, 140 zone. And everybody else, look at that. starting to get strung out a little bit back there. Looks like Anna's forming a second echelon of her own back there, a testament to how strong she is and how difficult that pace coming down in the quote unquote recovery section must have been. Mr. Lawyer of TTH fame, also owner of Corn Doggies. So if anybody wants to go out and get some food, you can be patronizing one of our own. Yes. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. People are starting to get strung out, and there was some chat about like lots of cars being backed up here, but so far there's really not that much traffic. So I'm okay with taking up some of the road. And of course, it does force cars not to so much split lanes. Anyway, back to our action. Ben pulls off after a magnanimous pull, and it looks like Greg has taken over. I'm still, sitting in there pretty easily. And look at that, my 30-second wattage, 95 watts. You can see how easy it is when there's a headwind and people are working hard up front. Ben still sliding up the inside at almost 300 watts, and and life is good here for him. And life is even better for me because I got a really good draft here. And so now I'm going to go kind of hard here. Looks like putting in 180 watts, 200 watts, bringing some people forward, keeping myself honest. And here we see some cars starting to get backed up behind us, but that's okay. So this is the first notice of it. Everybody start counting. This will be a good chance for everyone to see. So this is what's actually happening when we think we're holding up traffic. But the forward-looking camera shows that it's a clear stretch up the road, so cars should be able to easily pass. If they don't understand the double yellow rule, and this car actually does, so not a big crime holding anybody else up here. So I know there was some speculation about some of the hold up here, and maybe I'll do the next section too to show that. Anyway, back to the ramming and the thumping. Byron goes super hard. I really wish he had his power numbers. I'm trying to hang in, but I'm kind of spent here. Still a little tired, so I've kind of backed it off. Everybody comes by me. We look back, we can see where some of the people who did some work got shelled, but I'm just taking it easy because I know there's a lot of work to be done later on. And I'm still recovering a little bit, and still like not a horrible speed. I think I did in fact peg the speedometer to Ben on this one, so you get to see what he was doing up there, not necessarily myself. So you can see what is actually going on in this one. More cars pass, and I'm just chilling here, just relaxing into the stop sign. I'm looking at the color. I love the color of the sky that this camera presents and the granularity of the road. Kind of nice as we recover. And behind us, it looks like, yep, some of our strong riders. Looking at Anna, I'm looking. And normally I make comments about visors and stuff. And yeah, that visor is probably slowing her down a little bit, and maybe even the handlebar width. I'm certain it's very comfortable, but if I had to say, those handlebars should be a little bit narrower. But hey, you know, what can I say? I am certain it helps her breathe, especially climbing. So I am certain that if I were on Risk Canyon with her, um, it would be a different story because that would not be an impediment. So we go through the stop sign, we looked left and right, and the cars were letting us through. Those cars were going straight. That was okay. Not a problem here, given the new Fort Collins laws. And here's where I've got a little bit of a problem, where we have violated the law. Like, there's like the idea that we could just like stop in the middle of the road here. So this is where I'm telling people, hey, let's get out of the road. This is too common from cyclists to do this kind of thing, and not enough people are calling out this behavior. No names here, but that's what was going on. So we moved the camera away so it's not to show like what's going on and people to call people out. But they do straighten themselves out. But let's just be cognizant of that. Anyway, a good time was had by all on that one. And peace out for that special edition of Sprint Zone 2.